Happy New Year, and I hope your 2025 is off to a good start. So, this might be a bit of a weird story to begin the year on, but I did find it entertaining. So, let's see. The title of this book is Through a Mirror Darkly, and it's by Kevin Lucia. This is technically a short story collection, although the stories are all held together like by the larger context, where this man, also called Kevin, inherits a bookstore from his father. Like, he used to be a teacher, but he's not really into teaching anymore. And he takes over for his dad at a bookstore in a place called Clifton Heights, called Arcane Delights. Only he discovers, like, one morning, a box of books that he doesn't remember receiving. Like, it's somewhere where he doesn't remember there ever being a box of books, and when he looks inside, he finds a lot of stories that are about people from Clifton Heights, and some of them might even be related to people he actually knows. And this book goes through like the 4 stories that he reads. So all the stories are kind of held together by a few reoccurring themes that circle around, for instance, like strange supernatural happenings. Like, there are some reoccurring symbols that seem to indicate that a lot of these events, I guess, may be able to be traced back to the same kind of supernatural entity or location. And they're also all about people who are kind of grappling, I suppose, with things that they did or didn't do, like something in their past that they are, in a sense, running away from. So the first story is about a priest who has recently returned from serving in Afghanistan. Like, while he was in Afghanistan, he ran into a demon, and he's kind of haunted by his own guilt of his, I guess it sounds like, inaction from that event. Like, by running away, like, he feels like he caused the death of several soldiers, and this has been weighing pretty heavily on his mind. And then, like, at the school where he is now teaching, he finds himself starting to see some really odd things, like this weird potential student who was shadowing one of his students, and like this bus that he keeps seeing out on the roads, although he can't really see if there is a driver, and the make of the bus isn't modern, like it's an old-fashioned bus. And all these strange occurrences lead him to believe that there is in fact a demon here as well, and this time he's determined to not make the same mistakes that he made in the past. So the second story is on a taxi driver. Like, he participated in a terrible act, I suppose, in the past, and ran away from, like, dropped out of school, and is now a taxi driver. Only he ends up picking up a series of really unusual passengers, and he doesn't tend to remember the places where he drops them off. And not only that, their records, like, of the distance he drives, like where he goes exactly, don't register properly at the taxi service that he works for. And, that's all mixed in with him trying to come to terms with what happened that kind of caused him to run away from his previous life and become a taxi driver. Then there is a story about someone working at a salvage yard who discovers 3 unusual coins. Like, the symbols on the coins kind of indicate that they're related to entities referred to in the previous stories, but the coins seem to have this magical ability to give him what he asks for, and the story follows, like, him figuring this out and what he decides to do. I have to say that story probably was the one that most deviated from my expectations of this type of story. The final one was about a father who recently lost his son. Like, his child's death was really caused, I guess, by his own selfishness, and he's mentally been running away from the guilt and stuff of what happened, so much so that it's causing, like, he has a lot of mental issues, like psychological things that he has to deal with, and it may even be bleeding out into many of the other aspects of his life and the world around him. Things get really strange when he goes to try to make sure, like, to get electricity, like, paid up and stuff for his apartment, or was it a house? I'm not sure exactly. But anyways, the building gets kind of sealed up, I suppose. Like, none of the customers along with him or the customer service person who was helping out can leave, and people start dying, but it's all related to also, like, what happened to him. So something I liked, I think it was kind of interesting seeing how, like, the way all these stories were loosely connected and how they were all about this one place. Like, I kind of like interconnected short story collections, even though these weren't stories that necessarily built upon each other or anything. And it was also I like the subtleness of the things that went wrong. Like, I think it definitely leans a little bit more towards horror, although not in a way that I think is especially scary. It's more of an unsettling kind of strangeness, but that tends to be pretty interesting to me. Something I did not like. I kind of agree with the bookstore owner, like, when he finished reading the story, like, he made a comment about how it seemed like there was this kind of a running theme of a strange kind of loneliness in all these characters, and, you know, it left him feeling a little, like, unsettled and like he wants to be with family and stuff like that. And I think that sense of displacement and the loneliness that he talks about kind of lingers with you, like, when you finish reading the collection. So it's not really an upbeat kind of book to read.